What's going on YouTube? Nick Harrison here. Today I'm going to talk about a few safety tips, tricks, and equipment that will help you when wood turning on the lathe. What's up guys? Nick Harrison here, back again. Wanted to make a video to show you some tips and tricks that will help you keep safe when turning on the lathe. Now, we've all heard the term safety comes first or safety first, and as cliche as that is, it really does matter, especially in woodworking in general, but on the lathe. In woodworking as a whole, for obvious reasons, because there are sharp blades, sharp tools that don't mix too well with human skin. On the lathe specifically, we're talking about something that's moving at a minimum of average, 1,200 RPMs and goes up from there. That's something that the human body is not used to moving that fast. So if it gets a hold of the wrong part of your body, it could end up doing some damage, causing some pain. The first thing that I want to talk about is just an apron. This isn't necessarily a safety thing, it's more of a cleanliness thing. Personally, I cannot stand when I have sawdust covering me head to toe. Now, especially in lathe work, that's inevitable to some degree. There's chips flying everywhere. If you have a fan in your shop, those are blowing one direction or another. If you do not have a dust collection system that collects those wood chips as you take it off of your project on the lathe, then this definitely applies to you. If you do have a dust collection system, this part does not necessarily apply to you. But I can't stand having wood chips all over me when I'm doing lathe work. It's inevitable to a degree, but at least with an apron, it keeps it from running down your shirt. As long as you draw the apron up close to your neck, it'll keep it from, if your shirt's tucked in, it'll keep them from getting caught in your belt line, stuff like that. At the end of the day, you can just take your apron off, pat out or wipe off the chips off of your apron, and it keeps them off of your clothes. Now obviously I'm not wearing a full suit and tie when I'm doing lathe work, but I am wearing clothes that I really just don't want to have covered in wood chips. The next thing that I would recommend definitely getting is a pair of nice safety glasses. They don't have to be super expensive, they can just be a cheap pair from Walmart. $2, $2.50. Even Amazon has some cheap ones. I'll put a link down in the description. But just a pair of safety glasses for turning stuff on the lathe, just because there is stuff that flies off of that. You might think you're okay, but I wear contacts, so even the smallest particle of dust, even if it's not a full wood chip, gets in your eye. It's not fun. If you're turning any acrylic or anything besides wood on your lathe, if you have a metal lathe, this is especially important. The acrylic seems to chip more than scrape, if that makes sense. Wood seems to scrape and create dust and long strings of wood chips. Acrylic does not do that. It just flies everywhere and it doesn't come off in a straight pattern like wood does. So I would definitely recommend getting a pair of safety glasses. The next thing I would recommend getting a pair of is, or purchasing, is a good respirator mask. Now I have the RZ mask, which is amazing, and I'm definitely going to leave a link to this down in the description. I highly recommend getting one. They're about $30, and they have a reusable or replaceable disposable filter on the inside, but they keep out 99.9% of all particles, and they do. You can breathe really easy in it. It does get a little warm like all respirators, but not as warm as some other masks that I've had. So it does work very well. It squeezes tight to your face. They have different sizes of the mask. I have a large, and it is a little tight on me, but I have a big head and a big neck, so it is a little tight. But once you wear it, as you can see, it keeps out, it secures around your chin, around the top part of your nose, the bridge of your nose, over to your cheekbone, top of your jaw, and it really keeps out all the dust when you're working on the lathe. Now you will sort of feel like your face is being smushed. If that bothers you, if you're claustrophobic with it, you might need to find a different mask. But this one, if you're able to handle it, it's awesome to wear and to use when you're doing lathe work. It just has a Velcro strap that goes at the back of your neck. Super comfortable to wear. It doesn't cut into your skin, but it does provide a tight seal. The next thing is not necessarily a piece of safety equipment, but if you're doing, for me, I primarily make pins on the lathe, ink pins, and I have my wood blanks that are normally, say, 6 inches by 3/4 by 3/4. I cut those to the desired length of my brass tubes for my pin, and then I drill them on the drill press. Especially acrylic, again, and even for hardwoods, if it's something super hard, epay, for example, you're gonna want some kind of small clamp to hold that wood blank. Now, I know some of you are saying, well, duh, you know, you wouldn't hold it by hand. Some people do that, and I did that at first, and I have a bad habit of still doing that. If it's a small blank, it's a lot quicker for me just to grab it, hold it on the outer edges, bring my drill press, because I'm only drilling it about 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and be done. The problem is if it gets caught inside the wood, if your bit gets caught in there and it jerks it out of your hand, you're gonna have scuff marks on your finger. It could even break the skin and cause you to bleed. So I would recommend some kind of small clamp. This is the cheap way of doing it, but I just purchased a little $3 clamp, again from Amazon, link in the description. Just a little $3 clamp that is super strong. It's just a gator clamp, and I put my wood blank in there and hold the clamp to keep it out of the way. And there's usually enough leverage with this a little bit longer grip of a clamp that it doesn't rip it out of my hands. So this is just a safety tip or a little trick that I wanted to show you. If you didn't want to buy an actual jig, if you wanted to get out a little cheaper, you could just buy a small clamp. You can also make a clamp, get two blanks and put a hinge at the end where it kind of clamps together like that. That's another option for you. Again, just sort of along the lines of cleanliness, I keep a shop vac right next to my workbench because I don't have a dust collection system. Dust collection systems are nice. I'm sure some of you probably have dust collection systems. I do not because I am cheap. I just bought a $50 shop vac at Walmart. I keep different fittings and I can easily clean my entire workbench whenever I'm done. Everything that's on the floor, I sweep into a pile, put the hose right in the middle and clean it up after that. That was kind of obvious, but there are nicer shop vacs and dust collection systems out there. I have a few that I can recommend. I'll put those links down below. The last safety thing that I have is simply keeping your tools clean, sharp. Lathe chisels especially, whenever they get dull, they tend to catch on your project as it's turning and it might yank the chisel out of your hand. That can be potentially harmful if it flings up and hits your face or even hits hard enough anywhere on your body. Excuse me. But keeping your chisels sharp will allow them to glide and cut into the wood rather than getting caught on the wood if they're dull. Same for any of your tools though. Saws, band saws, obviously you want those blades to be sharp for obvious reasons. They could pop and spring and fly around to who knows where. Keeping everything tight with the fittings that need to be tight. You don't want a loose blade turning at X amount of RPMs. Same thing on your lathe. You want to make sure that your chuck is secure. The threads on the headstock are secure. That way your lathe isn't turning at 1200 RPMs. Something comes loose and it flies halfway across your shop and you're right in the line of fire. So keep everything sharp, keep everything tight, fittings greased. That's another potential safety hazard is fire or overheating. You don't want any of that. Anyway, some of this stuff has been kind of cliche, stuff that you've heard all your life, but it is worth mentioning. For me specifically, I don't go all out with safety, but I do wear that respirator mask, and the main reason is with certain hardwoods, they can be obviously harmful to your health. Even softwoods. Cedar is a very popular wood in this part of the country and in many parts of the country. That is actually a carcinogen, and breathing it can cause major health problems down the road. A lot of hardwoods, a lot of exotic hardwoods can actually give you cancer, lymphoma. Now those are the extreme circumstances, but it can happen if you're turning pins for many, many years or turning anything for many, many years, breathing in that dust. So if you're going to be breathing in a lot of dust, I highly recommend getting some sort of mask, one that's halfway decent that you can use over and over. I used to use the cheap Walmart masks. You can get 5 of them for $5. Those work okay. They're not the best, but they're better than nothing. So those work okay. So just keep safety in mind. I know this is the last thing you want to think about when you're in the wood shop, burning off steam. Just relax and just get something ease of mind, but it is important at bare minimum a pair of safety glasses, a respirator, and the apron. The apron is not, again, not part of the safety thing, but it is. It does help keep the wood chips off of you and could potentially irritate your skin if you're allergic to certain kinds of wood. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave those down in the comment section below, and be sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed the video, and click the subscribe button to get updates on any time I publish new videos. You can find me on social media, including Twitter and Instagram, with the handle @TheNickHarrison. And you can find me online. You can at my website, which you can find pictures of all the projects I do, new videos, updates. You can contact me, see the stuff I work on and how I do it. You can find me on my website at www.meetnickharrison.com. So be sure to check that out. I'll be back with another video very soon. So for now, take it easy, and I appreciate you watching.